Hey, what's going on? 819S here. Today I want to talk about 5 things that I really love about motorcycling in Japan. Number 1. The first one for me is actually the speed limits, and it may be a little bit controversial. The speed limits in Japan are really slow, and I think that's one great thing about motorcycling in Japan. Now hear me out. The reason is everyone speeds. I mean, everyone speeds in Japan. Everyone I know speeds in America. Maybe there are a few people who take the safety of driving so serious that they stick very precisely to the speed limit. But I think just to keep the flow of traffic, most people end up going faster than they might want to. And in Japan, the speed limits are often 30, 40, or 50 kilometers per hour. This street that I'm on right now is 40. If you don't know how to do the calculation between kilometers per hour and miles per hour, I remember one little technique when I drove a lot in Canada. When you cross the border from America to Canada, there's a sign that says 100 kilometers per hour is 60 miles per hour. I don't know how accurate that is, but it's something that's always stuck with me. So if you think 100 is 60, that means 50 kilometers per hour is about 30 miles per hour. So this road I'm on now must be 26 miles per hour. A 30 kilometer per hour road must be what, like 18 kilometers or 18 miles per hour, right? So the speed limits are really, really, really slow. My experience so far is that a lot of people end up riding or driving 20 kilometers per hour over the limit. And I've been told by other drivers and other motorcyclists that if you go 10 over, you're probably not really at risk of being pulled over by the police. If you go 20 over, 15 or 20 over, you start running the risk of being pulled over. So you want to be a little bit careful about doing it, but you know, if you run 10 over, it's no problem. Number 2, mirrors. 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 They're everywhere. People have mirrors everywhere. It's so that they can safely see whether someone is coming or not on the side street. And you can see these roads are so narrow. 2 cars will not fit down this street that I'm on right now. But it is a 2-way street. And I think that kind of attention to detail when it comes to safety is kind of a big thing in Japan. People really want to make sure that they're doing everything safe so that they're not, you know, causing trouble for other people or not potentially injuring themselves. Number 3, I think that because Japan has a all year round riding season, that drivers are more accustomed to having motorcyclists on the road. I think also because there's so many motorcycles around that Japanese drivers are accustomed to it. So you find that people pay a lot more attention to motorcyclists in Japan than they do where I'm from. I can't say everywhere in America is like this, but where I'm from, there's only a few months a year people can actually ride. So as a result, there aren't a lot of motorcyclists in that area. Also as a result, the drivers aren't used to having motorcyclists around. And they don't always know how to behave when motorcyclists are there. So it can cause a little bit of trouble for the motorcyclists and for the car drivers, you know? Number 4. Number 4 would be lane filtering and lane splitting. Well, not technically legal. You can pull up to the front like this and get around. If you're on a motorcycle, you can go through lines and lines of cars when traffic is backed up. My understanding of it is that Genski scooters, which is a moped basically, 50 cc's or under, can go to the left side of the road and filter up to the front of traffic legally, completely legally. If the line is yellow, you can't filter up to the front. Now, realistically, the police don't really care if motorcycles do it also, unless you're doing something really dangerous or you're speeding. You can also go in the lanes in between the 2 cars to filter up to the front of traffic on any kind of bike. Again, technically not legal, but the police kind of look away as you do it as long as you're not doing anything extremely dangerous. The other way I've heard it explained is If all cars are stopped, completely stopped, then doing that is fine, perfectly acceptable. When everyone starts moving, you should merge back into traffic. If everyone's going near the speed limit, you shouldn't be lane splitting anymore. I mean, from a police standpoint. If everyone's going the speed limit and you're speeding in between the cars, you're most likely going to get pulled over. If everyone's going about half the speed limit and you're doing the speed limit between the cars, you run the risk of being stopped. Number 5, parking. In Japan, you can park your motorcycle in the same place that you can park a bicycle in most places. So you have a lot of options available for parking your motorcycle, whereas you might have to pay for parking your car. There are a lot of places where you can park a motorcycle that you can't park a car, which makes it really, really convenient. If you ride a bicycle, you can probably park bicycles in the same places too. They're basically considered similar in the case of parking. If you park a bicycle there, you can park a motorcycle there. It's really, really convenient. And if you go to some shopping centers and places like that, you have to get parking tickets and stuff. You have to pay for your parking unless you buy a certain amount of goods, this kind of system. But if you're on a motorcycle, you just park wherever the bicycles are and you don't have to worry about, you know, taking a ticket and paying stuff or anything like that. Motorcycles are so much more convenient in that aspect. It's a really, really great thing. So, that's it. A few bonuses. One of them is twisties. You find that a lot of streets in Japan are curvy and twisty. There are not that many really long straight roads. So I think if you're a motorcyclist, you kind of like being able to go through the turns and, you know, lean the bike over a little bit from time to time. And in Japan, you definitely have that opportunity. So it's really, really cool to ride in Japan. Alright, that's it for this video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Ride safe. Mirrors! Mirrors!